Good day, life science students. Welcome to video lecture episode 9. Today we're going to be starting in section 1 of chapter 25. Remember, we just introduced ourselves to chapter 25, and that was the non-living environment. Now, section 1 is referred to, or titled I have, as Abiotic Factors. But let's first hear two quotes from Dr. Seuss. One says this: "Sometimes you will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory." And the other quote is, "You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way." One, we're building memories, and we're also on an adventure. And I think I got just one more quote. This is on slide 19. "The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go." So in our learning, we're actually going places. We're learning new things, and those things can be helpful for the future we have before us. So let's look at first the main idea of section 1. So once again, section 1 is abiotic factors. Both living and non-living parts of an environment are needed for an organism to survive. So we're going to identify common abiotic factors in most ecosystems, list the components of air that is needed for life, and explain how climate influences your life in an ecosystem. All right. Now let's get some definitions in here. Okay. If we're going to talk about abiotic factors, we need to know what biotic factor is because they go hand in hand. Biotic factors are as follows: the features of the environment that is alive or once was alive. Abiotic factors are the non-living physical features of the environment. So what's this for as regards to importance to life? Well, important abiotic factors include air, water, soil, sunlight, temperature, and climate. I'm pretty sure most of those words were familiar, and we realize their importance to just being able to live. These factors are not independent, means they're not by themselves. Lack of rainfall can cause drought to the grasslands. Animals that depend on the grass for food or shelter would find it hard to survive. In other words, you see how one falls and the rest of the dominoes go with it. Now let's move on to slide 22. Many factors are predictable and cyclic. That meaning cyclic, that means they go in a cycle. They start, they go through it, they end, and start again. But many have extreme variations. Some can be influenced by other factors such as pollution in the air, water, and soil. All right, now let's just take a look at slide 23, a picture of a familiar character for maybe some of you, Mr. Captain Planet. But abiotic factors that we're going to consider as we go through this will be air, water, soil, sunlight, temperature, and climate. Just to remind you, we did mention those, but I just want to mention that we're going to go into those a little bit more. All right, so let's look at air. Air is easily overlooked as an abiotic factor of the environment because it is so plentiful. Atmosphere, let's define that quickly. The air that surrounds the Earth, that's the atmosphere. Now, the air itself, what's its composite? In other words, what are its parts that make it up? Well, 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, 0.97% argon, and 0.03 carbon and other trace gases. So as you can notice, nitrogen and oxygen take predominance as far as making up the air. Now let's consider a few other things in regards to air. Carbon dioxide is required for photosynthesis, and during photosynthesis, oxygen is released. So you can see the balance there. When a candle, for example, burns, oxygen from the air chemically combines with molecules of candle wax. Chemical energy stored in the wax is released as heat and light energy. Can you already see in just those 2 points just how there's this nice balance, and it's somewhat predictable, actually? Now, in a similar way, cells can use oxygen to release chemical energy stored in the sugar molecules. This process is called cellular respiration. Through respiration, that means through breathing, as illustrated in the image at the bottom of slide 25, through respiration, cells obtain energy needed for all life processes. Plants, some bacteria, fish, and other organisms all need oxygen for respiration. So if you look on slide 25 at the bottom there, that's just illustrating with the arrows pointing up this gentleman taking in a breath of air. Okay, now let's move to the next of those abiotic factors, that being water. Water is the major ingredient of the fluid inside the cells of all organisms. Hear that? Major inside the cells of all organisms. So it makes up the most. In fact, most organisms are between 50 to 95% water. Respiration, digestion, and photosynthesis and many other important life processes take place in the presence of water. Environments that have more water, like rainforests for example, usually support a greater diversity and a larger number of organisms. Now take a look at slide 27. That's a pretty cool picture. Someone's taken a nature hike there, so to speak. Thousands of species can live in lush rainforests where rain falls almost every day, and it's because of that. Now we're going to move on to another abiotic factor, and that is soil. All right, soil. Soil is a mixture of mineral and rock particles, the remains of dead organisms, water, and air. It is the topmost layer of the Earth's crust. It supports plant growth. Most of soil is non-living rock and mineral particles, but it can be a host to decaying organisms and a habitat to bacteria, fungi, insects, and worms. Now, if you look at slide 29, it's kind of got like a cross section, so you can see the different portions of it. And so we'll go from top to bottom. We have O, A, E, B, C, R. I cannot completely remember why they choose those letters, but I'll tell you what's in each of those. In the O, we have the humus or organic, and that's really the place where most of the life is going on that they're familiar with. Then we have just below that the topsoil. Then we have the alluviated horizon. So it's a horizon means it goes across and it separates what's above with now what's going to be coming below. Then we have the subsoil, which is the soil below the soil. Then we have the parent material, in other words, where that stuff sprouted out from. And then, of course, what we call is the bedrock. All right. Now, if you look at the image on the far right-hand side of slide 29, you'll see also some percentage here. This here we got 25% air, 25% water, 45% minerals, 5% organic matter, which is broken up into organism, roots, and humus. All right. So let's go in. Let's dig in a little bit. The decaying matter found in soil is called humus. Okay. Soils contain combinations of sand, clay, and humus. The types of soil present in a region has an important influence on the kind of plant life that grows there. So keep in mind that based on what the soil's like, is what kind of plants that will basically be in a particular environment. And you can take a look just where we live here in Arizona. Also in some parts of Arizona, you notice how people definitely had to add soil or artificial settings so certain plants could live here. Now, soil in Phoenix versus soil in Washington State, radically different. Now, also, if you look on slide 31, I also have an illustration there. It's like the bottom center image, and it shows loose, soft, nutrient-rich soil versus compacted, hard, weak soil, just so you can visually see what they look like as well. All right, now let's move on to slide 32. Soil with vegetative cover is protected. It retains more moisture, more nutrients, and keeps it from eroding and turning hard. So if you look on slide 32, you see that image represented with the soil that has a vegetative cover on the left and a soil with no vegetative cover, and just what happens. The nutrients get taken away and they harden under the sun. It is the plants that protect, and then the soil provides. So it's kind of a nice little symbiotic relationship that you see is there. Well, we're going to finish up on slides 33 and 34 today, and just take these two bullet points on slide 33 into consideration. Okay? All life requires energy, and sunlight is the energy source for almost all life on Earth. During photosynthesis, producers use sunlight directly. Their energy is passed to consumers. And then I have this nice little fun little picture here on slide 34 where this person is just basically took pictures and making it look like one, they're holding the sun as a basketball on the side, spinning it on their finger, and then looks like they've just shot a hoop from a basketball, only their basketball is the sun. All right, I do hope the lecture has been helpful today. Please let me know if there's any way I can help you. Answer any questions down below in the comments. Thank you. Have a nice day.